Caldoran. This boss has two phases. Tank the boss right where he stands and have the entire raid stack behind him in the melee. Healers should stand close to the pillars to LOS mages that come in from the sides. The goal of this phase is to have all the adds die in the fire so they can't be resurrected. There are adds that cast Divine Offering continuously, and this can't be kicked, so you'll have to use stuns and polymorphs, etc. to stop the cast. Otherwise, all adds will be healed back to full and it will also heal the boss. Caldoran hits extremely hard, so we rotated 4 bark skins on the main tank continuously to help with the damage. We used a rogue tank because they basically dodge almost every other attack, and it's one of the only tanks that wouldn't just die. So use a rogue tank. The ad tanks have a tough job in this phase. They'll need to keep all of the ads off the healers, especially the Ravagers, because they one-shot cloth wearers. And then you have to make sure that they die inside of the fires, which can get out of hand quickly. You can dip into the fire to move the ads into position, then quickly move out to position the ads. We dropped all the fires in front of the left and right pillars and had them as close to the tank as possible without the fires touching the tank. Wake of Ashes. This is a tank frontal. Just face the boss towards the front of the room, so the tank is the only one who gets hit by it. Blinding Flare. Look away or you'll be disoriented. If the tank ever gets hit by this, the boss will start one-shotting people that are next on the threat list. Divine Conflagration. A ranged player will get targeted with the yellow circle, and they have a few seconds to drop it on top of the ads. We dropped ours in front of the left and right pillars. We also used 2 tanks to gather the ads to make it cleaner, which I highly recommend. Really quickly, guys, I wanted to give you a quick raid plan on what you need to do with the fires. It's probably the most important part of this fight is nailing the fires and the ads in P1. Everything else is pretty easy, and I think you'll pick it up. All of the DPS will be standing behind the boss. You'll have the tank in front of the boss, and you're even going to want your ranged DPS standing right behind the boss in the same spot. So you're going to have everybody pretty much right behind the tank. And then your healers are going to kind of be like here off to the side, standing behind the pillars, but also still very close so that tanks can pick them up. Then you're going to have 2 off tanks that are basically right here, tanking all of the ads. So you'll have the hunters. The hunters need to be kind of back here because they can't be in melee range, so they'll need to be slightly farther back. But all the mages will be basically like right here, the casters. Ads are going to come in from the side of the room, and people are going to get chosen to drop fires. The fires need to get dropped as close to the boss as possible, ideally like right in front of the pillars on both sides. So the first fire will get dropped left, the second fire will get dropped right, and then the tanks will be tanking almost on top of the tank, but basically you drop the second fires here and here, and yes, and then the third fire can just get dropped out. So the first fire left, second fire right, then this one will disappear, and so the fourth fire will replace the first fire, then this one will disappear, and the fifth fire will replace the second. And then once again, you'll get a sixth fire, which you just kind of discard it. So every third fire, you just kind of discard. You could put it back here in the middle behind the tank if you wanted, but it's probably easier to just drop it back here somewhere or behind the pillar works too. But anyways, this is how you should position for this fight. And this will, the closer you can get the flames to the tank, the more you can stack it all up, and then the more damage that you guys can do by cleaving off of the boss in this phase, and then the ads will die faster too. So kind of slightly in front of these pillars, this would be perfect positioning for this fight, and then you just drop the extra flames off in the back. And like I said, healers will hug these pillars to kind of line of sight the ads that are coming in from the side, and then that will allow the tanks to pick it up and then move the ads into the fire. Blade of Malice. This is just a tank buster. It does about 8k damage to the tank if it lands. If you see this being cast, I should pre-shield the tank so that it absorbs some of the damage. Reclamation. The boss will attempt to resurrect any dead bodies that are not in the fire, so make sure you kill ads in the fire. Execution Sentence. The tank will be stunned and have his armor and dodge reduced. Pain Sup and Shield Wall should be saved for this mechanic. At 55%, the Ashbringer will awaken, and you have to DPS it down before it kills the raid. Cleave down any ads that are alive and use big CDs like Priest Dome, Rally, and Health Pots in this phase. At 40% on the Ashbringer, the damage will stop, and the raid will be shackled for 5 seconds. If the raid is not topped off and healthier, they can die because damage will continuously pulse while you are shackled. You have 15 seconds to move to the mage circle in the front of the room before dying light light explodes and kills everyone. The boss will transition into phase 2 and rocks will fall from the ceiling and you need to run through the portal by the altar. The boss will open by casting Cessation. This is when the boss gets to 100 energy. He summons 5 ads that need to be killed off to the side because they drop purple pools on the ground when they die. The boss will continue casting many of the spells from phase 1, including Blinding Light, so make sure you look away. The one new spell that he casts is called Quietus. It's a frontal tank buster that also does damage over 9 seconds, so make sure you pre-shield this whenever you see this being casted. Your tank will now be getting hit by 4 different abilities, including Quietus, Judge Unworthy, Blade of Malice, and Execution Sentence. Make sure to continuously rotate those bark skins, pre-shield for the Quietus and Blade of Malice, and paints up shield wall on Execution Sentence. At 10%, the Ashbringer will spawn again and call back all the bosses from the raid from the dead. Although, this looks a lot more scary than it is. The only dangerous mechanic in this phase is probably the stock breaks and then the whirlwind from Herod. Do not get hit by the whirlwind. This will wipe your raid. If the boss enrages, he will one-shot everyone, even through Divine Shield. The only thing that helped during this part was target dummies and then kiting the boss. For instance, a rogue could like run to the corner of the room and then vanish right before he got there. That's the only thing that would extend the fight a little bit longer. This boss is a heavy DPS checks. If you don't have the DPS, then you simply will not kill it. Honestly, phase 2 is pretty easy. Once you get phase 1 down consistently, you're probably going to kill this boss. That's it for my Scarlet Enclave raid guides. If you enjoyed these guys, please drop a comment, let me know, and I will see you in the next raid.
Let's go! Let's go!
The mount.
You should
The trinket. Caster trinket. Caster trinket.
on hard res.
Yo, move some soft res that.
Oh my god.
That is crazy.